Even with the sorry, even with the late notice, we do appreciate it a lot. I do want to share a little bit more about the resource net, the Latino Disaster Recovery Alliance. So I'm going to start off with the vision, mission, and objectives. So our mission is to minimize the severe effects of natural disasters that occur in Latino communities statewide through preparation, prevention, and provision via collaborative measures. So all of you guys on this call with us this morning. Our vision is for a collaborative resource network that provides Latino communities with access to resources that assure an efficient recovery process following a natural disaster. And this is really important, I feel like every year, but especially this year, after what happened last year. I think it's great for us to be all on one call and sharing a little bit more about the resources that we have, and how we can support each other. And then lastly, we have three objectives. The first one is to foster a proactive partnership. Sorry, oops. I'm sharing AI. Okay. Foster a proactive partnership within the disaster relief community to establish plans that place emphasis on restoring and building the community post-disasters. Second is to collaboratively brainstorm and support the community through sustainable education that addresses plausible scenarios to reduce the negative effects that result from natural disasters. And lastly, to increase awareness of financial and non-financial resources available to families residing in North Carolina to ensure a successful recovery process. Before I get started, I do want to hand this over to Juvencio if he's on the call. I'm not sure if he is. If not, we can get started. So as I mentioned in the presentation, I mean the letter, I wanted to share a little bit more about the conference that we had this past year in collaboration with Sea Grant. I think Frank is on the call. So if you have any questions, he's more than happy to answer those as well. So I do want to thank Frank for collaborating with us and bringing this idea up to us so that we can gather together and share a little bit more about advancing health and disaster preparedness for the coastal Latino families. So we had this conference back in November 19th of last year. So a little overview of the purpose of the conference. So it was to address disparities in communication during disaster of, sorry, there's more people joining in, so it gets a little complicated adding them and sharing as well. But the main thing, the purpose of this conference was to address disparities in communication during disasters affecting underserved coastal Latino communities. Second was to strengthen coordination among stakeholders in public health, emergency management, and community outreach. And lastly was to center Latino voices and experiences in preparedness planning. We did have two keynote speakers. Our first one was Efosa Evior. He was in the PhD program coordinator one. He presented on preparing for inclusion of agricultural workers in climate-related and other public health emergencies. It was a quantitative content analysis of county emergency preparedness plans across Eastern North Carolina. And this study was done from 2022 to 2023. His presentation included an analysis of 41 county emergency preparedness plans for Eastern North Carolina. It assessed communication strategies and community engagement efforts targeting agricultural workers. They developed a code and rubric to identify best practices based on CDC, FEMA, NCFH, and FAN guidelines. Some key findings were that only 43% of plans mentioned materials in languages other than English. Just 30% mentioned Spanish materials, 19 referenced translators, and 15 included interpreters. Limited explicit inclusion of agricultural workers in county-level planning. Best practices for agricultural workers were rarely discussed in the emergency preparedness plans. Coding the 47 plans for translators and interpreters, 19% of plans mentioned provided translators, while approximately 15 included a mention of interpreters. Reaching out to Spanish language media, only 8.5% of 47 plans included a mention for a plan, and we found no plan included a provision of culturally sensitive materials. Even fewer plans aligned with recommended community engagement practices. There was a mention of 9% of plans, presence of Spanish-speaking populations, 3% of plans reaching vulnerable populations. And lastly, 62% of the plans mentioned outreach to or input from a cooperative extension such as 4-H, which agricultural extensions serve such services such as Spanish language services, health education programs, and so on. So that was a positive to the findings that they were able to research. When it came to community engagement, he only presented 3 of the 10 measures they accessed. The reset was not mentioned in any of the plans they accessed. So the recommendations from that presentation were to elevate farm worker voices in planning sessions, even through interpreters, sorry. Formalizing roles for advocacy groups in emergency management conversations and expanding use of translated and culturally relevant materials across counties. So if you would like a copy of this presentation, we'll be happy to share that. We did get approval from IFOSA, so we can share that information with you guys. Our second keynote speaker was Sarah Medova, MPH, Coastal Public Health Specialist at the NCC grant with NC State University. They discussed climate resiliency and storm response strategies, emphasized cross-sector collaboration, and coastal-specific challenges. They shared lessons from NOAA and the Old Woman Creek National Estuarine Research Reserve. And lastly, they advocated for integration of regional planning with culturally appropriate outreach. So we had a panel discussion. We had Lindsay Woodward from Sampson County, Matthew Barwick from Duplin County, and Lou Sanabria Reyes from Volunteer NC. Some of the barriers that they saw were language access, mistrust, lack of feedback mechanisms. Some of the opportunities that they found were bilingual volunteers, culturally humility training, and inclusive LEPC meetings. And lastly, emerging practices were engaging volunteer fire chiefs, mapping vulnerable populations, and pre-registration for special needs. We did have 2 roundtable discussions. The first session, the outcomes from those were communication methods for Spanish-speaking families, mixed effectiveness, community emergency plans rarely involve Latino representation, and the outcome of this one also was community leaders suggested more translation and cultural liaisons. For our second session, 2 of the main things that popped up were the migrant health centers, varying roles and inconsistent involvement in the planning. So involving our farm worker community more in preparedness plans for emergencies and mapping vulnerable populations and improving multilingual alerts because they are still limited. So the cross-cutting challenges from this conference were fear and misinformation around public benefits during disasters, lack of culturally relevant materials, insufficient engagement in emergency planning phases, and gaps in coordination between health departments and emergency services. Recommendations that we were able to pull from that conference were developing multilingual disaster toolkits with local leaders, establishing feedback loops for underserved communities, including promotoras, fire chiefs, and community-based organizations in the plannings. And I think by this one, it means by the emergency management in each county. So as they're preparing these plans to include these leaders as well. And lastly, to promote state and county-wide community humility trainings for emergency responders. And that was all that we had. Are there any questions? I know I went through that really fast, but I do want to leave some time for questions. And a copy of this will be shared with everyone. If not, we can move on to our introductions. So I'm going to start off with Frank. If you can introduce yourself so that we get to know each other, because I do want to get in the next couple of months. I'm going to be working with Camila Vera, and I will have her introduce herself as well. We're going to be creating a resource guide with all of you guys, so we do want to get to know you guys more. So this will be our time to be able to coordinate and get to know each other. So I will ask Camila to introduce herself first.
Good morning, everyone. Don't know if you can see me right now. This is me, Maria Camila Vera. I'm going to be helping with Marlene and everything that she is going to be providing, whether it's information, infographics, or anything that she needs. And if anybody has questions, y'all can reach out to me as well. My apologies. I'm on the way to Wilson right now for some classes that we are doing as well for digital literacy. So I hope everyone is having a great day. I'm gonna still be here, but I'm just gonna mute myself and stop the video in case.
Yeah. Thank you, Camila. We appreciate it.
Thank you.
And I'm sorry I missed these questions in the chat. So we did have one from Andy. So did the Sampson and Duplin County representatives commit to implementing these practices? So they did. The only thing is that we need to follow up with them. But we did want to include everybody on these calls so that we could all work together. And I'm not sure if Frank wants to share anything else alongside that.
Morning, everyone. I'm Frank Lopez from North Carolina Sea Grant and also the Water Resources Research Institute. And we were really pleased to be able to partner with OmixCon on putting together Safe at Home. One of the things that we did was we received a grant from the NOAA Disaster Preparedness Program, and we collaborated with OmixCon on this and several other opportunities to kind of improve the communication related to disaster preparedness, disaster recovery in North Carolina for English as a second language citizens and folks that are visiting our state. So, pleased to be here. I think one of the things that I would like to do for the group going forward is continue to be a resource. There are elements of NOAA, of National Weather Services, things like that maybe I can bring to this group to think about, where the capacity is for disaster preparedness and recovery for Latinos in North Carolina. As part of that, I think one of the things that we can draw from is, from Hurricane Florence, which was a disaster, in a lot of ways, not just economically, but human health, other pieces of that. There've been some things that's happened in our states that are positive, and they're related to being able to communicate with people that would prefer to see Spanish language communications. So in some ways, it's more facilitation, our role, I think, than where we are just trying to start from scratch. There's been some positive effects over the last few years, but we want to continue. Obviously, there's potential for people to be left behind in the event of disaster, and we want to prevent that if possible. Thank you for having me join today.
Thank you, Frank, and thank you for answering. So I hope that answers your question, Andy, or maybe so.
Yeah, it sounds like there's some initial commitments and just thinking through how we turn those partnerships into action, and actually, to have those kinds of outcomes actually show up in the emergency plans that Efosa and his colleagues were researching as kind of an outcome that demonstrates, hey, it's not just yes, we want to partner with Latino-led and serving organizations, but we have also taken that next step to update our emergency plans that include those kinds of communications with Spanish media, awareness, and kind of a plan to contact interpreters and translators, all of those kinds of things that Afosa and Sarah had come up with in their research.
Thank you, Andy. And of course, I think that's something that we did have planned After that meeting, we definitely, wanted to have a follow-up conversation. And due to resources, we did, put that on hold. But now that hurricane season began and we're able to launch the Disaster Recovery Alliance again, we definitely want to bring that back. Maybe instead of having, we'll have these monthly meetings, but alongside these monthly meetings, we want to have like conversation type meetings, planning meetings, within the month, so that we can provide those resources and effectively communicate with the community, in the aspects that you shared. And I will be sharing that information with you all, and I'll be working with Camila. So it'll be us, and then of course Frank will be involved in this process as well. But we're excited about it for this upcoming year. The next question I saw was, were any strategies shared regarding how to include multiple stakeholders like promotoras and fire chiefs? So as I mentioned a couple seconds ago, these planning sessions or planning meetings is how we were going to be able to communicate with both the fire marshals, health departments, the emergency managements, and promotoras. I think our conference was a great start to getting everyone together in a room and sharing insights on that. So strategies. The only one I can think of right now is those planning meetings that we plan to host in the next couple of months. And I don't know if there's anything else that I missed, Frank, that you would like to add.
I don't think so. I think it was a good start. It showed, where we want to work and the potential for not just having, emergency management, but public health and other aspects of recovery at the table. And I think it's a model that we can continue to follow going forward.
Thank you, Frank. Next from Sarah, we had, will a copy of today's presentation be shared? Yes. I will be sharing this presentation with all of you after this meeting, as well as a recording. I'll be sharing our YouTube page so that you guys can view that as well if there was any questions that you wanted to hear as well. So I'll go back to the introductions. So I'm going to start off with, I went through Frank already and Camila, so I'm going to go with Dee Culver. And you're welcome to say your name, title, organization, or agency that you work at, or in any upcoming events that you might have or resources that you want to share.
Good morning. This is Devinda Culver with the Greenville Police Department, and I was tuning in today to see what you were doing and maybe looking at who a suitable candidate would be to be on this meeting on a regular basis.
Okay, awesome. Thank you for sharing.
Welcome. Take care.
Thank you. Next, I have Rhett Booney. Good morning.
Good morning. I'm Rhett Boney with the North Carolina Community Foundation. We are a statewide foundation, and I am the program director for the Disaster Relief Fund, which we open kind of either as a disaster is coming or after one is hit. So currently working on grant making in Western North Carolina, and engaging here to learn more about what this group is working on and learning and sharing. And so I'm glad to be able to sit in and listen. So thanks for hosting the meeting.
Thank you for joining us this morning. We appreciate it. Next, I have Andy. Good morning, Andy.
Hey, good to be with y'all again. I'm Andy Schunig. I use he, him pronouns. I work for MDC and facilitate the North Carolina Inclusive Disaster Recovery Network, which has been around for almost 10 years. And Amix Khan is one of the founding members of that network, going back to after Hurricane Matthew in Eastern North Carolina. Folks are welcome to our monthly meetings or just signing up for our information that comes out after those meetings. Will go out later today, but the results or the summary of our last meeting was a focus on the state's single family home recovery program in Western North Carolina for Hurricane Helene. And there were a number of questions to the state agencies from members of the network about ensuring outreach in multiple languages. So there is a Spanish language outreach toolkit, and all of that will go out in the meeting summary a little bit later today. I'll drop in the chat a place to sign up for that if it's helpful for you.
Thank you, Andy, and definitely. And I will be adding your link, your subscribe link as well in our newsletter. I hope that's okay. Can I do that so that everyone on here can also get on the resources and meeting information?
Of course, inclusive is in the name, so everybody's welcome.
Awesome. Thank you, Andy. Next I have Bianca Perez.
Hi, good morning, everyone. My name is Bianca Perez. I'm Director of Community Cultural Affairs with AMISCAN. Along with our summer intern, we work on our weekly newsletter, where we are updating our community partners and the community what we're doing virtually and what we're doing in person as well. So I will add that sublink into the chat. Please share it among yourselves and with the community that you're working with. Greatly appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you, Bianca. Next I have Brianna Gilmore. Good morning.
Hi there, good morning. My name is Brianna Gilmore, and I work with the Building Integrated Communities Initiative at UNC Chapel Hill. We've been doing lots of language access work over the last 3 to 5 years, and are interested in learning a little bit more about some disaster work as we prepare for our next cohort, focused on language access in North Carolina, specifically for emergency and disaster relief. So excited to get to know and meet a lot of other people here. Thank you.
Well, thank you for joining us, and this is a great spot to meet these individuals. So next I have Carolina. Good morning, Carolina.
Hi, good morning, Marlene. Thank you for sharing all of this wonderful information. My name is Carolina Salicio Perez. I am the Latinx Policy and Strategy Director for the Office of Minority Health and Health Disparities, formerly the Office of Health Equity, but we continue to do some groundwork in Western North Carolina with lien recovery. As you all know, it's been 9 months, but that certainly doesn't mean that all communities are well on their way to living the way that they did pre-Helene or even better. So here to learn and engage and really like the suggestions. I think it was Brianna who asked about the fire chiefs. We of course know that in rural communities often it will be the fire chiefs or other first responders who are the first to really engage with communities. So also making sure, to Andy's earlier point, that we have an opportunity to engage with those first responders with their emergency planning. Often it's going to be their capacity, their staff that's going to be doing that first response in a time of crisis. So just thinking about that and how we can maybe also link up with those first responders, and think about maybe even, yeah, we think about staffing interpreters, but also maybe more bilingual first responders. Thanks.
Thank you, Carolina, and thank you for that good input. We'll take note of that. Next, I have Christine Diaz. Good morning.
Hello, good morning. Yeah, my name is Christine Diaz. I am the Environmental Justice Coordinator with the North Carolina Conservation Network. We're a statewide nonprofit and work on a number of issues. I do have a colleague that more primarily focuses on disaster resilience as opposed to recovery, but as some of this work touches on environmental justice and language equity and access, interested to hear how we might be of support and also how we might utilize our network to support some of this work.
Awesome. Thank you for joining us. We're excited to collaborate with you guys. Next, I have Cynthia Aguilar. Good morning, Cynthia.
Hello, good morning. Just wanted to turn my camera on. Happy to be here. I'm Cynthia Aguilar with NC State Extension, and one of my areas of work has been focused on on disaster preparedness, the whole package, not just recovery, has been part of the different initiatives to try to put our 2 cents in the structural changes needed, like had been already mentioned. However, I'm currently also focused mostly on developing educational tool for the communities, meaning, I keep calling it basic training to our Latino stakeholders. When right now we had to say Spanish speaking or people with different backgrounds, but the whole idea is that, again, all these structural changes are really important. And initiatives, I'm going to continue putting my 2 cents on that, but also, again, at this moment, we're focused on it, in how can we bring a little bit more of education to our communities, all the way from, and especially creating that, try to create this culture of preparedness, what to do before, during, and after all the whole thing. So if anybody's interested, I'll be happy to learn any tools that you have been using. And we already have a little training sessions. It could be 2 or 3 classes, and we're hoping to pilot it in a couple of months in 2 or 3 communities. So again, this is our work in construction. One of the things is I'm hoping not to use grants for this project, because with extension, and my work has always been grant related, and again, very grateful for that. But the idea is to see how we can connect this, sustain it with the local resources. One of the main ideas for this project objectives is that as we provide this community education, if we can identify potential leaders that can be part of the local response teams, or could be a voice. So, I know there are other groups working on this, but again, this is one of my focus areas currently. And again, happy to join efforts with anybody else, so to share a little bit more details. Thank you.
Thank you, Cynthia. And yes, we love the idea, and we would love to chat. Again, Camila and I will work on scheduling that second meeting, planning meeting, so that we can share a little bit more and, help you with this pilot as well, because we're more than happy to. Next we have Patrick. I did see that you have your camera up, so I'll call you. Thank you for joining us this morning.
Thank you for having us. I'm Patrick Riley with the Office of Partnership Engagement within North Carolina Emergency Management. Essentially, our mission is to build and sustain meaningful connections across both public, private, nonprofit, faith-based, university, and volunteer sectors. So we currently, within the CERT, lead the Business Emergency Operations Center, voluntary agency liaisons, and then the Community Emergency Response Team. So I'm excited to listen in here today, learn, and see if we can co-create some strategies that work for your communities. So thanks for having me.
Thank you for joining us, Patrick. We appreciate it. Next, I have Erica. Good morning, Erica.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Erica Burkhart. I am a Medicaid Expansion Regional Support Specialist for Region 6, and I support 9 of the federally qualified health centers, or lookalikes, up and down the East Coast. So I'm here kind of on behalf of them to share resources, and kind of make sure they're also getting the information in the communities they serve.
So, well, thank you for joining us. We appreciate you joining our call this morning. Next, I have Francisco Guzman. Good morning, Francisco.
Hola, good morning, everybody. Francisco Guzman. I'm working with the North Carolina Department of Health and Human Services. But today I would like to talk to you as a certified community recovery team. I paste in the chat these trainings that are, of course, basic trainings, and then you can be a trainer as well. Maureen, you will talking about community health workers. We need to make sure that our community health workers have trained or have been taking these trainings, because when it's a disaster, these teams are the ones who are connecting with community. And if someone here, you don't have idea what I'm talking about, please just look for these trainings. I mean, they are basic trainings. Everybody are welcome. Even these trainings are for people with and without social security number. It's like a general trainings. And we have a huge force of Hispanic Latinos who have been trained. And some actually Hispanic Latinos trainers who've been taking more than 10, 15, 20 hours tools for these disasters.
Thank you, Francisco. And definitely, this is a great opportunity for us to share with the community. Since it's, no identification really is required. We did have one of our promotoras go out a week or two ago to the training that they had in Charlotte. So that was really nice for her to be able to get this training and be able to train others. So thank you for sharing that resource, Francisco. Next, I have, sorry, let's see. Miguel Perez. Good morning, Miguel.
Good morning, everybody. Thank you so much for the invitation, Marlene. My name is Miguel Perez. I'm a community outreach here with the U.S. Department of Labor Wage and Hour Division in North Carolina and also covering South Carolina right now. The Wage and Hour Division, we're a federal agency, kind of enforces a lot of labor laws, including your minimum wage under the Fair Labor Standards Act, your family medical leave. We cover some agricultural programs like the H-2A program, and we also cover the Migrant Seasonal Workers Protection Act. And we also cover a lot of different labor laws in North Carolina. So we're excited to be back in this group. I know we used to participate in a lot of these meetings, and unfortunately, we had to step back for a second. So hopefully we're back into the rotation. So very glad to be here, and whatever I can do, I included my contact information in the chat. So if you have any questions or if we can assist you with anything, please feel free to reach back to me. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Miguel, and it's a pleasure to have you back with on these calls. Next, I have Miss Tracy Cornegie. Good morning, Tracy. We're just doing introductions. We'll come back. Next, I have Rodolfo Martinez.
Hello, everybody. Good afternoon. Oh, no, still morning. Good morning. My name is Rodolfo Martinez. I lead the advocacy and civic engagement pillar here at MXCon. No upcoming events as of now. Oh, wait, actually, yes, there's one. It'll be July 22nd, and it'll be at 6 o'clock. It's a Tuesday, and it'll be regarding it's pretty much a presentation on the pathway to higher education. Without having any status, mixed status. So join us and find out what some of those challenges are and how you can overcome them. Thank you, Mom.
And next we have Sean R. Good morning, Sean.
Good morning, Marlene. Thank you for having and leading this meeting. This is day 3 for me at the Division of Community Revitalization with the North Carolina Department of Commerce. And that said, my laptop is not working right. I just got it and the camera will not come on. So apologies there. But I'm sitting in today for my colleague, Samantha Graham, who's our Director of Outreach here at the Division of Community Revitalization. And just wanted to learn some more about what the group does, others that are involved. Again, it's day 3, so it's just wonderful for me to immerse myself into all the individuals and other units and organizations that are part of this. Sounds wonderful. One thing that Andy touched on that I just wanted to peg off of is that DCR has launched its single family housing program as of about 2 weeks ago. And about 30% of the applications thus far have been approved. And so we're just encouraging people to go to, if they want to apply for this help, they can find out more information and apply at renewnc.org online, and I'll drop that information into the chat. And I also wanted to quickly let you know, this is just again information that Samantha wanted me to pass along, is that we do have, as part of supporting this single family information, she said that we do have 60 case managers that are out in the Asheville, Marion, and Boone areas that are helping people who are applying for this program. They're walking them through the process, and then also once if they are approved for the assistance, the case managers stay with them, and we'll walk them through the other sort of touch points along the way to getting the housing rehabilitation or reconstruction, whatever sort of level of supports they're approved for. Some of the case managers are bilingual, so there is a level of support there. And just wanted to put out there, Smith, wanted to make known that if there are other areas in the western part of the state where there are people that you're in touch with, if they're there frequently and they would benefit from having a case manager help them with the application process, to go ahead and reach out to myself or to Samantha. Let us know. We can get people out to those areas. So that feedback right there would be helpful. And then if we would have someone who's a contact person in those areas, sort of help introduce us to the people that we need to be talking to help facilitate this, that would be helpful as well. So a lot of information. I hope that made sense.
No, thank you. We appreciate it. And please send my warm regards to Samantha. We're excited to see her. We're excited to see you, but we're also excited to see her soon. But thank you for all that great information. There was a question in the chat from Andy. He said if he heard correctly that the application approval rate is 30% for renewing.
For what I'm hearing, and just at this point, it's probably a moving gauge as more applications come in, and whether or not they're meeting the criteria. But I've been told that as of this point, from the number that we've received, about 30 of them have been approved.
Awesome, thank you, Sean. And
sure thing.
Sorry, Sean. I was just trying to clarify. Did you say 30 applications have been approved?
30%. And I don't have the exact number of applications that have been received thus far. So, I want to manage expectations there. But my point is more so to say that we are, with haste, going through the applications, trying to get them, through the stages that they need for approval. And so we're trying to move along at a good clip.
Gotcha. So it's not that 70% have encountered some kind of barrier. It's that
No.
applications
It's
received
just
so
a
far.
matter of that. That's how far we've gotten at this point.
Gotcha. Thanks, Sean.
And thank you for that clarification. I don't want it to get out that we've turned down 70%. That's not the case.
Thank you, Sean. And I will be reaching out to you as well to get all this information so that we can add that to our newsletter or our emails.
Sounds great. Thank you, Marlene.
Thank you. Next, did I miss anyone that would like to share a little bit more about themselves? Organization? If not, I want to thank you guys all for joining us this morning. I did have one or two questions. I know I sent this out via email, and I know there's some security blocks when we do send out MailChimps. If you guys could give me a thumbs up if you want me to continue sending out via email or if you would like for me to send out via MailChimp. Okay, thumbs up for email, no thumbs up for MailChimp, if that makes sense. Sorry. Or you're welcome to add it in the chat as well. So I think we're going to do MailChimp. I only see 3 thumbs up for email, but I'll look in the chat as well. But other than that, I want to thank you guys for joining again. And I will be sharing all this information that we shared this morning. And I'm also going to keep, the meeting going on a little bit longer so that everyone can put the resources and information into the chat box as well. Because we're going to be collecting that and sending that out via email or MailChimp. But I hope you guys have a great week. Thank you again. Bye, everyone.